Hey, what's going on? It's Dr. Chainsaw. I am laughing right now because I just recorded this video, but I forgot to plug my headset into my computer, so there was no sound. So, here we go. I'm about to give you the PvP, or not the PvP, the Nightblade Tank build that we talked about on the podcast. So if you saw the podcast, you saw that myself, Kindeth, and Laz, we came up with some builds. I thought I would put it on a video for you guys so you could see what I was talking about. Now, I'm not saying that this is the best build in the world. I'm not saying it's the worst build. I'm just saying this is my build. If I were to roll Nightblade Tank, I would probably roll something similar to this. It's a little bit different because I tried to stay away as much as possible as I could from one-handed shield abilities. I tried to just use Nightblade abilities. So let's just get right into it. I chose the Nightblade and I chose the Red Guard. I chose the Red Guard just because I like the idea of having stamina. I think that's going to be a pretty important part in your class build, in your tank build. I think stamina is used a lot for blocking and your bashes and your punctures. So you're going to be spamming the taunts. So I think stamina will be good. If it's not, it's not. It also increases your damage, which is handy. All right, so Ransack I chose as my first skill. Reduces target's armor by 43% and increases your armor by 12 for 12 seconds. That's awesome. You're increasing your damage by reducing their armor, and so everyone else in your group is benefiting from that. You're increasing your armor, so you're taking less, and you're keeping the boss on you. It's one of the only taunt abilities in the game. I'll go into the other taunt later, and it's your tanking. It's your go-to tanking thing. Next thing I chose was Dark Shades. I thought this was a pretty cool one. I haven't really seen this on a lot of builds, so I thought I'd throw it in there. Basically, attacked enemies deal 15% less damage, and the shades are dealing damage. So they're basically your DPS pusher. They're giving you aggro and threat. Even though we don't really know how that system is going to work in this game, you're getting it by dealing more damage, and then you're taking less damage because your enemies are dealing less damage. And it's also useful, say your enemy, the animation, right? The enemy's going to do a big AoE spell. Some of those Dark Shades, add that DPS while they're channeling it up, and then you're going to take 15% less damage from whatever that spell is that he's casting. So it's completely useful. Double Take, it's like your evasion from WoW. Like if you ever played a rogue, you just pop that, it increases your dodge. Well, this increases the enemy's miss chance for 26 seconds. You morph it up, and then they're 30% miss chance for the first 3.5 seconds. So it's just a great damage prevention tool. I really like it. I think it's completely useful. This next skill, I actually had something else in this. If you saw my build on the forums, you saw that I had Marked for Death here. I read that wrong. I didn't realize that Marked for Death affected the enemy. What it is it decreases the enemy's spell resistance and armor by 75%. Well, you ignore 75% of their spell resistance and armor. But then, on the flip side, the enemy ignores 75% of your armor and spell resistance. I didn't realize that. I misread it. I thought the tooltip said all players ignore that. I thought it was you and all players, not you and the enemy. So that's really good for like a burn. If you got a lot of health and they don't have any and you just want to burn them down real quick. That's what that's for. It's not a tanking skill. That would totally mess you up later. So what I switched out was Swallow Salt, which is basically just you're gaining health as you're attacking. Plus, if you slot it, you gain 10% healing from all sources. So your healer's got to work less, and then you're healing yourself as you're fighting. And the last thing is Unstoppable. It's from the Heavy Armor skill line. It's just a great active ability. Increases your armor, prevents you from getting knocked back, disabled, all those things, and the duration is increased for every piece of heavy armor equipped. So it's just one of those things that you're gonna have to put on your hotbar. You're gonna need it. It's from the heavy armor skill line. It's there for a reason. It's there for tanks. There's no way about it. That one and Ransack, I really think, are just two things that cannot be forgotten when you're building a tank. And then the last thing for the ultimate was I did Bolstering Darkness. This one's cool. I like it. Some of the other guys were using the other ultimates, but this one I like. You're snaring your enemies so they're not running around. Your allies are taking 30% less damage, and that effect is increased by you for 100%. So to me, that means that you're taking 60% less damage. Plus, your allies gain invisibility and they get healed get a hot for 54 over 4 seconds, which is awesome. That's just one of those, like, it's almost like a support role. If you're playing a Nightblade DPS build, that would be your support kind of thing. But as a tank, it's perfect because you're working less and your allies can work less and still do the same amount of damage. So you really pump it up. You can do some massive help with that. You're helping out your healers, which is all about. As a tank, you and the healer need to be on the same page. And if you're just making your tank work or your healer work overtime because you were ill prepared, because you didn't put time into thinking about your build, because you just threw on some heavy armor and were like, well, I'm just going to be a tank now, you got to heal me, the healer's going to hate you. You need, as a tank, you need to realize, I need to make it easier on the rest of my team, and that way we can succeed. Alright, so let me jump right into the weapons. I chose one hand and shield, obviously. I chose the ransack, and then I chose all the passives. The passives, you have to take them. Increases your cost of block, reduces the abilities of ransack, increases your weapon damage. They're just useful. If you want to go through them, I'll just go through them real quick. Deflecting bolts for projectiles, which will be useful for trash. And then increasing your movement speed while blocking, so you can hold that shield and run around like a nut. Alright, last thing for the heavy armor, again, unstoppable, which is already on the hotbar, we saw that, and then passive abilities. All the passive abilities are tank abilities. You need them. You're increasing your armor. You're increasing your health regen. You're increasing the power of your melee attacks when you wear heavy armor. You're decreasing the cost of block. You're increasing the effectiveness of healing on you from your allies. It's just, you're making, like I said before, you're making life easier on your team, and that's what it's all about. Soul magic, I put points in soul track and soul summons. That's not really important. Here, the Undaunted skill line, I like this one. I like Bone Shield, which is you gain 50 armor, and then your nearby allies can get a damage shield for 60 of their max health. This is awesome for like trash pools, or if you're thinking, well, I don't really need Swallow Soul. I like that, but my healer's badass. He doesn't need any extra help from me. So throw on Bone Shield. Gain that extra armor. Gain your allies a damage shield. What DPS class doesn't want to have a damage shield? What DPS class is like, well, I really like getting hit, I really like taking damage, and I really like when the healer just worries about the tank and he lets me die. Well, you give him that damage shield. Help out the group. Play that support role if you want to, or if you need to. I like Bone Shield. I think that's really cool. And then with the racials, I did all of the Red Guard racials, which is all about stamina. Increasing your stamina, restoring your stamina. You're going to be getting your health restored, through your healer, through your Swallow Soul. So why not get your stamina up there as well. Now, let me go back in the class skills and see if I can find this one. So for the class passives, increases stamina regen when a shadow ability is equipped, increases max health for each shadow. So 3% just for shadow ability is awesome, and then increases your duration of your shadow abilities, which is your ultimate is what you're going to have in your Dark Shade. So you're going to have 2. You're going to be working at 6%. Now, let me see. There we go. This is what I like. Some people were forgetting about this one. Catalyst in the siphoning tree increases potion effectiveness by 20%. That's awesome. Whatever you got in your quick slot, just imagine that 20% more powerful. It's a great little ability that's kind of hidden away. You don't even think about it, and then before you know it, all your teammates are like, "Whoa, you don't have Catalyst? Why, you're not increasing your potion effectiveness 20%?" Well, there you go. So as you can see, that's my build. If you like it, you like it. If you hate it, you hate it. It's 59 skill points, which is the amount of skill points you will have at level 50, give or take 1 or 2, if you just do main storyline and leveling up. Obviously, there's like 300 some sky shards in the game. There's like so many. So you can get like 100 points, 100 skill points just from sky shards. And then who knows, what else is going to come at endgame that could give you more skill points. We really have no idea. We're just scratching the surface. So that's my build. If you like it, awesome. If you don't like it, give me some tips. Say, oh, I like this, I like that. Honestly, I'm not going to play a Nightblade Tank. I'm not going to play this class. I'll play this class, but I won't play this build. If I want to do a Nightblade, I'm going to do DPS. But, we at Tesso Elite, we want to give you all kinds of options and show you what can be done with this game. So there you have it, right on the forums is 3 builds for a Nightblade tank, and all 3 are completely different. So it's really up to the player, up to the options. This is something that I like. This is something that I thought would work. If you don't think it works, fine. If you think it works but you want to tweak it up a little bit, go for it. You know, take this build, experiment with it. If it completely crashes, if you have the time and you play this build and you get a Nightblade tank all the way up to level 50 and you use exactly what I used and you message me at the website and say your build sucked, I couldn't tank for shit, sorry. It looked like it would work for me. So if it works, cool. If it doesn't work, it doesn't. So I'm really excited about the next podcast. We're working on another build. I've already got ideas rolling in my head. I'm not going to spoil it for you, so when you watch the podcast, you can see the build that we're working on. I'm excited about this one. I think it would be more fun than doing the Nightblade tank. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out the podcast. Every Tuesday, 9 p.m. will be on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TessoElite. And I will see you guys then.